Hey guys, Mamie here from OneJoyOusSkip.com. The project I'm creating today is brought to you by CatScrappiness.com, and I'm using this Booyah stamp set that I love so much if you have seen any of my videos. And it's by Fawn, and I'm going to create a Halloween themed card, of course. I'm excited to try out this technique because I really love it. I think it's so cool, and I have cased it from Terracell on YouTube, and she got it from somewhere else, but I'm just letting you know where I got it from because I'm not sure who started it, but it's very, very cool. So to get started, I'm stamping my ghost and their accessories on Copic blending paper with Simon Says stamp ink, and I'm going to be coloring the images with my Copics. So I'm stamping all the images I want in the foreground first, and so that I can mask them and stamp the ghost on top of the mask and make the headdresses or costumes fit nicely on top of their heads. And this stamp set is my absolute favorite Halloween set because it's so adorable and versatile. So as you can see here, I am just stamping the ghosts underneath the costumes, and they came out great. Easy to line up. I do have the video sped up quite a bit, but it is very easy. And so this stamp set comes with a lot of costumes and different accessories that you can play with, and so it's really awesome. So oh, and it has a bunch of different faces, and so I just really used as many different things as I could here. So for this card, I am going to end up using all the images. I just couldn't resist. I had to this time. I didn't want to leave anybody out, you know? It comes with that cute little spider. I've used that spider on several videos so far, and it has a little web, a little web string that it can hang down from. And the bat vampire wings, I didn't have room to stamp those appropriately on top of his arms, and so I was like, well, let me try it underneath. That did not work out, so don't do that. So I stamped those off to the side so that I can just cut it out and put them in that way. So now I'm just going to be doing my Copic coloring, very, very simple Copic coloring. I'm actually doing the ghosts in kind of like a gray-blue. You know, you can outline them in any color you want. You can do gray, or you can do a warm gray. It just depends on what kind of effect you want your ghost to have. And I am going to be doing the Frankenstein ghost in green, of course. And I really wanted to do the ghost in different colors too, but I was like, okay, I've got enough going on in this card. Let me try to just keep the rest of this simple. And I'm pretty much just sticking with Halloween colors because, as you guys know, those are my favorite colors. So I'm using the orange, purple, and green as much as I can here. And I just cannot say enough about this stamp set. You can pick this stamp set up. Hopefully by the time that I'm doing this video, you can pick it up at Cat's store. It's super versatile, and the sentiments are great too. I've used the sentiments for other cards that I've made for Halloween, and I just find myself reaching for it every day. I really do. And I'm not sure if you can get the dies for it. I know you could at one time. You might still be able to, but I just cut mine on my brother scan and cut. So if you guys know if the dies are still available for it, let me know in the comments below. And here I'm just doing Frankenstein's hair. And so I didn't show you everybody's coloring because that would take forever. And so I'm just showing you how I did his little highlight on his head. On his hair, rather. And I don't know, it's hard to say which one is my favorite, but I really think that Frankenstein is my favorite. And I'm just going to be finishing up the coloring here. And I forgot to put the caps up on the table so that you guys could see all the colors, but since I didn't show all the coloring anyway, it would have been hard for me to do that. But I've had a couple of people request that I put the colors in the description, so I am definitely going to start doing that. It's just that I did so much for this card here that I just totally forgot. So forgive me if you do want to know the colors, and if you ask for, like, if you like the orange family or if you like the purple family, let me know, because it's pretty much my go-to colors for each family, and I can just write you back and tell you, hey, I use the, you know, VO9, VO4, you know, or whatever, because I usually use the same family because I don't have a lot of Copics, so I just find 3 or 4 that blend well and just kind of go with those forever until I can get some new markers. And so our coloring is almost done here. If you see those cute little accessories on the side, it's got some lollipops and a little Halloween treat bag and a broom. Just so cute. So I'm going to color those in, and I'm going to color the wings in to finish it off. And next I'm going to be creating our super cool background. So this is my first time trying it, so I know anyone can do it. Okay, so first I made that circle mask. I used just a circle die. You can use anything that you have to create a circle mask. I pressed that into place and started on my blending. I'm using Bristol Smooth cardstock. It's great for blending. So I used the Dusty Concord first to blend really well on the edges and just slightly bringing the color toward the center. And I also use my Fiskars, what's it called? My Fiskars punch. That's right. I use my Fiskars punch to stamp, punch out some different clouds on some masking paper. Sorry, I don't know. I just got confused about what I had done there. And I'm just going kind of back and forth, forwards and backwards, so that these little clouds will have some variation. And I'm just going to blend right on top of those so I can create some like foggy clouds, as you can see here. And I'll just move those around and continue to kind of go over them with the darker inks or more saturated of the same color. And so that just gives me like a little bit of a foggy cloud look. You don't have to do this part. You can totally leave it out, but I just really wanted to play. And so then I'm using the Chip Sapphire to blend around the edges. You don't want to bring these colors, the darker colors, in too far. You want to try to stay as far back as you can towards the edges. So the purple you can bring towards the center lightly, but then the rest of the colors that I use, you don't. You want to keep them kind of on the edge and just bring them in a little bit. And so finally I'm using the black soot here, and I'm really just going along the edges with that for sure. So each time you do the blending, you're going to bring in the blending less and less. And then you can go back through and go from black soot to chipped sapphire, and Dusty Concord back the other way to give you a more even blend. But I think it came out great. The Bristol Smooth cardstock is fantastic for ink blending. I feel like maybe the colors aren't as bright maybe on the Bristol Smooth, but I might be wrong. I'm not really sure. Look at that. Wow. But the Bristol Smooth is definitely great for blending. Look at that moon. Isn't that cool? It really looks like the moon is there. Oh, I just love that. When I saw Tara do it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I have to try this immediately. So very cool. And so now I just have some Distress inks over to the side, added a ton of water. You know, I really just wanted to keep it very, very light. And I'm just going to kind of go over the moon in different areas to give it a more realistic look. You definitely do not have to do this, especially if you're using really cutesy stamps, because I wanted to see if I could get a more realistic look, and you don't have to have a realistic look when you're using those little cutesy stamps, you know. So I don't know why I did this. I was just playing and I didn't want to stop. So I just wanted to see if I could get it more and more and more realistic. And I probably went over the top with it, but that's okay. Isn't that crazy? It looks so cool. It looks like the real moon. So anyway, I used like scattered straw and vintage photo, I think, and black soot, like really, really, really watered down, just to put a little bit of color here. And now I'm just kind of going over the whole thing with the really light layer of the scattered straw just to dim down the moon, because it was so bright. And you know, it needs to look like it has clouds in the front of it, so I went down with the black soot a little bit in front of the moon in areas so that it looked like the clouds were kind of floating in front of the moon. So, but like I said, don't do all this if you don't want to. You don't have to. It looked cool just pulling it off and seeing the moon. It was awesome. Okay, and so now I'm just using my Stitch Rectangle dies, and I'm going to be using the Booze and Brews paper pad to create the, well, to put on the card base here. And I just can't decide. They're all so cute, but I went with this pattern paper here. And I have this fence die that is from Sizzix I've had for a long time. You can use whatever kind of fence you have. You can even use grass or whatever you have on hand. You don't have to use anything if you don't want to, but that's what I had on hand, so I used that. And I'm just matting, just barely matting this moon background. And I'm using my, I don't even know what that's called. It's called Crafty Power Tape. I usually use my score tape, but I ran out, so I'm using that Crafty Power Tape. Just trimming that down a little bit. I just want it to just barely peek out, just to kind of give it a little bit more finished look. So now I'm going to get ready to put the fence on, and voila, it attached itself. So I really didn't put any thought into the rest of the card. I just knew that I wanted to do this moon background, and in order to do that, I was going to use the ghosts to go along with it. I see myself doing the moon background again very soon for another project. I just really like it, but I'll definitely do it different. I don't like having everything the same. So now I'm just using my Wink of Stella, and I'm just going to glitter up that moon a bit. I'm almost out here, but that's all right. It'll all work out. And so now it's time for me to kind of figure out where I want my ghosts, and, you know, I really made it super gaudy because I just couldn't help myself. At first I was like, okay, I'll just use 3 and I'll put them across the front, you know, and just keep it simple so you can see the moon, and I could really have my focal point pop. But I just couldn't decide. I couldn't pick out of all of these cute ghosts. So I just said, all right, you're all going on here, but some of you are going to have to hold hands. So I've got some of them really close to each other because I didn't want to overtake the moon. And so I popped some of them up on foam tape, and then I left some of them just adhered flat to the card, just to give some variation to the dimension. I think that came out really cute. And so now I'm just taking some vellum, and I'm just going to stamp the Happy Halloween sentiment from the stamp set on there. And in my other videos, I know you guys have seen me use the Happy Halloween from this stamp set, like, on everything. It just works perfect. They have great sentiments, and these little ghosts are just the cutest thing ever. So I'm using my Versamark here, and I'm going to be doing the heat embossing. And Versamark is just a clear sticky ink that you can use to spread embossing powder on top of, so that it will hold in place so that you can heat set it. And I'm using some silver embossing powder here. And if I know I have a lot of new subscribers and that are actually new to crafting and have told me that you have only been doing it a very short time. If you ever have any questions about embossing or heat embossing, just let me know. And so I just did it in silver. I thought, oh gosh, you know, you can barely see that, but I had already taken over the card so much with everything else. I didn't want to take any more away from the focal point. So had I to do over again, I might have done it in black, maybe. I'm not sure. I might have done it in silver again anyway, but it ended up coming out pretty cute, so. And, you know, the video doesn't ever do the card justice, so just wait for the still shots at the end of the video if you really want to see what the card came out like. Okay, so I've got the vellum trim down there, and now I'm going to put on all the accessories and all the finishing touches. I've got my little broom and the little treat bag. I hope that the Frankenstein's not sad because he's alone. Well, I mean, he's not alone. His friends are all there, but he doesn't have anyone, like, holding his hand. I don't think I'm going to use the sad face anymore because he's the only one that has the sad face, and I don't like to leave him out with that sad face, so. Okay, so for the fun part here, I am using cat sequins again, of course, and I'm just going to, I'm actually not going to put it all over. Wow. I'm running low on her sequins because I'm just putting it all over everything. So I just put some on the sides there, and then now I'm using my new pigment ink, and I'm just going to go lightly over the black areas to put some stars all over. And I'm using my white gel pen here to put some more stars. And I am finally putting on the sequins here. And my card is pretty much done, so make sure that you stay after the video to see the still shots. And thank you guys so much for joining us, and make sure to hit like and subscribe. And you can also find my YouTube channel at Mamie Carson on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.